My Lords, this bill has more holes than Swiss cheese. Let me just give you some examples. It promises to ban bonuses for senior executives, but actually is silent on how that ban is actually to be implemented. Water companies can bump up the basic executive pay and thereby eliminate the need for any bonus at all. Most water companies are part of large groups of companies and can offer multiple directorships to the company, to the individuals, and therefore no bonus is necessary whatsoever. So hopefully in her reply, the Minister will tell us how this bonus ban would actually operate in practice. The explanatory notes refer to bonus ban for degradation of, quote, financial resilience. I know a thing or two about financial resilience, but there is actually no definition in the bill, and I have no idea whatsoever what exactly the government means by that. So again, hoping that the Minister will give us some ideas. And how is this assumed financial resilience actually to be secured? Shareholders already are reluctant to invest. More debt won't increase resilience. Currently, some 28% of the gross revenue of water companies is used to service debt payments. With higher debt, that percentage would rise and also destabilize companies. That leaves higher customer bills as the only option, and that is, after 35 years of abuse, simply not viable. So again, I'll look forward to some clarity. The bill promises to bring criminal prosecutions against some of the water company bosses, but provides absolutely no criteria. How much sewage and how often does it have to be dumped to trigger an event for prosecution? There is no clue in the bill whatsoever. In any case, there is a backlog of 60,000 Crown Court cases, and chances of any timely prosecution are absolutely slim. So maybe the Minister has in mind some additional investment in the legal system, and it would be good to hear that. The bill does not curb payment of dividends at all. In March 2023, Ofwat said that it would, and I quote, stop the payment of dividends if they would risk the company's financial resilience, unquote. But to date, there has been no restriction on dividend payments. Not a single water company discloses its distributable reserves. So we have no idea as to what their dividend paying capacity is anyway. The government is pinning its hopes on Ofwat, but Ofwat isn't really up to the job. It has presided over the entire mess. It hasn't curbed financial engineering. Water companies continue to inflate their level of investment by capitalizing interest and repair and maintenance payments. That is permitted by Ofwat. Ofwat systematically favors companies over customers. Anyone only has to have a look to see how the pricing formula PR24 operates. Ofwat uses fictitious gearing ratios to enable companies to receive real excess returns. That should really be a criminal offence. Ofwat can't be trusted. It is too cosy with the water industry. 2/3 of England's biggest water companies employ key executives who had previously worked at Ofwat. Executives of water companies and regulators regularly meet in hotel and expensive private clubs to discuss common position and how to quell public anger about bill rises and sewage dumping. This bill does absolutely nothing to check collusion and cognitive capture of the entire regulatory apparatus. On 5th September, the Environment Secretary said that, and I quote, customers will have the power to summon board members and hold water executives to account through new customer panels with teeth. Well, without a statutory base, customer panels will achieve absolutely nothing. In my view, at least 50% of the board of directors of any regulatory body and a regulated entity need to be directly elected by customers. Customers must also vote on executive pay. If they think executives deserve pay and bonuses, then they can award it. So let there be a bit of democracy. At least give people some power to check abuses. If the Minister has any objections to democratisation of water industry, it would be good to hear it. The main aim of the bill seems to be to prevent public ownership of the industry. It enables ministers to restructure water companies and return the monopoly to the private sector, with a cost borne by customers and the public purse. Clause 10 empowers the government to provide financial assistance, which it may or may not be able to ultimately recover. This strategy can't address the cause of the crisis, which is profiteering and cash extraction by water companies. If the water industry had been in public ownership for the last 35 years, £85 billion would have gone into infrastructure instead of dividends. Interest payments on debt would have been much lower, as the cost of government-backed debt is always lower than that borne by companies. That would have freed billions more for investment. But the government opposes ownership. In response to an oral question in this House from myself on 23rd July, the Noble Lady Minister said that the public ownership would cost billions of pounds. That seemed to imply that the government has actually done some calculation. So I quickly followed it up with a written question seeking details of that calculation. And all that I got in response was a reference to the Social Market Foundation report of 2018. If any of my master's students had written that as a dissertation, they would have been guaranteed a fail. It is a dismal piece of work commissioned by water companies. And a former government advisor said that that report has virtually no intellectual substance. The £90 billion quoted in that figure, in that report, is utterly incorrect. If you want to take over an industry, you only buy equity. You don't buy the debt, and that is what it included. And in 2019, Moody's said that the equity value was only £14.5 billion in water companies. Since then, lots of changes have occurred. Most water company shares are junk or worthless. Debt is junk. Some of the Thames water debt is trading at less than 6p in the pound. So the government should let these companies collapse and bring them into public ownership at low price. That is how capitalism operates, that if you collapse, you don't get bailed out. So only public ownership can provide long-term stability, and it ought to be done through a not-for-profit organization. The cost of this can be loaded onto the acquired companies, as is done by the private equity model, or it can be recouped by issuing public bonds, ensuring that people actually own essential industries. So this bill is delaying the inevitable, and naturally I would help the Minister by tabling some amendments. Thank you.